Hey, welcome back to Crimes and Closets. This is Christy in my closet in St. Louis.
And this is Beth in my closet in North Carolina.
Yo.
Good morning to you.
Are we over this that we're doing this in the mornings yet during the day?
It is morning for people who are listening either way, so we might as well just lean in.
I just feel like it's only been the last however many weeks that all of a sudden it's like every time like, good morning.
I know. I like it. We're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready for murders.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not that ready yet. I need a little bit of buffer first.
Oh, okay. I went to the grocery store this morning before we jumped on here, and I was walking into you're not going to believe this. I was walking into the grocery store, and this car was backing up out of her parking space to get, to pull out, to leave the grocery store. And she was backing up. She hit a car. She hit a parked car. Okay. I'm standing there, and she about hit me, first of all. And she was backing up. She was not looking at all. I don't know if she was on the phone or what was going on, but she's backing up, and she just backed right into this car. And I was just standing there looking like, hello. She just pulls away. She goes to pull away. Okay. The best part. And so there's so many people in the parking lot too. We're all looking at her. We can all see her pull away. The best part though, there was a little boy in the back seat
of her
car, and the window was down, and we're all standing there looking, and he sticks his head out of the window and he goes, "Did you just see that?" We're like, yes. Yes, we did.
Okay.
You need to holler at your mom. Tell her to stop the car. She broke the headlight on the car.
Oh my goodness.
She just pulled away. She just drove away.
She did?
Yeah, she did. Even she knew her son was talking to us about her backing into this car, and she still just took off. So they got her license plate and went into the store and told the people at the store. But I don't know how they would find the owner of that car that she hit. I'm assuming they will. I don't know.
Well,
hit and run. I witnessed a hit and run.
Maybe they put a note on the owner of the car like, hey, we saw it happen. Come into the store. We have the license plate.
Maybe. That's what we should have done probably. Or just wrote the license plate number or something.
Right. Yeah.
And like our phone numbers. I know. It's so funny though. We were all like, really?
I can't believe the kid saw it and is like, or felt it.
I wish you could see me, because he really did. Like, he goes, "Did you see that?" He's like hanging out the window, like looking at us like, y'all saw that, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Anyway.
She must have pulled out real far, or did she just have a big, long car?
No, it was a little tiny thing.
She just kept on going like, I got all the room in the world.
Yeah. I don't know what she was doing. She was about to back over us. She backed into the car. Then she was just like, all right, I'm just going to go now. I'm just going to go home with my ice cream.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
There we go.
That's hilarious. That sounds almost like a mom that maybe needs a break. And speaking of breaks, you like how I did that?
Good segue.
Beth and I are going to take a break, guys. Not for long. We just need a little bit of time away from the research and the recording somewhat. Not really. The recording's kind of fun, but just the research, it kind of, it gets heavy. And we've been doing this for what now? Like over a year and a couple months, like straight. I mean, maybe we've taken a couple times, but we've not really taken a real break.
I can remember.
So our intention is to take the entire month of July off of researching and recording, but we will have 2 episodes in July, right?
Yes.
The last 2 weeks of July.
Exactly. So the first 2 weeks, we are not going to be releasing episodes. 4th of July week, and then the week after, just so that we can spend some time with our family. And then the last 2 weeks, we'll be back on schedule as normal and until the end of the year, probably.
Yes.
So,
yes. Yeah. Because we've been like feverishly recording. Yes. We're actually like months ahead right now with recordings, which is kind of exciting.
Thanks to all these suggestions that are coming in.
Yeah, for real. We kind of had to keep up with them.
Been banging them out.
Yeah, we have. So just letting you know.
We have something special coming at the end of June. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to do a little something extra since we are taking those first couple weeks of July off. We're going to send you into July with something fun and exciting. So stay tuned to find out what that is.
Okay. All right. I think that's all of the housekeeping.
The announcements. Right. Give me some murder.
You got it. All right. Well, are you ready for this, Beth?
I am ready for this.
I hope you are, because this is kind of, I don't know, this one, I've already told you a million things that I was so confused about this one, so I'll just go into it. But I do have a feeling that many of you are aware of this case because it's Cameron Todd Willingham. Have you heard that?
I don't think so. Willingham?
Really? Willingham.
Oh, no.
You will. You will. Maybe you don't remember the name, but you'll know this case.
Okay.
But I don't know how many like me actually dove into this to beyond what was on the surface of what was in the news and whatnot. Because I that's all I heard was that it happened, whatever, and took it at face value. And then I forgot about it and didn't dive into it until now when Stacey, our listener Stacey, suggested it.
Okay.
So thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, Stacey.
And because I've dove into it, now I'm questioning a lot of things.
Oh, no. That happened to me with Scott Peterson. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
When I delved into Scott Peterson, I was like, well, was she seen walking the dog? I don't know.
Right. Yes. Exact kinds of things. So just hang with me and hold on to your pants.
Got him.
So Cameron Todd Willingham, who from this point on, I'm going to refer to as Todd because everybody else does.
Okay.
He was born in 1968 in Oklahoma. His mother had several children from a few different men and ultimately abandons Todd when he's a toddler in California, from what I heard. But I don't have no idea how they got there. I don't actually know if that is true. I don't know. I know he was abandoned, and at 18 months, he is sent to live with his father, who has by now remarried, or not remarried, because I don't think he was ever married to Todd's mom, but married another woman. And she takes him in and raises him just like he's her own. They reportedly have a great relationship, love each other. Todd struggles a little bit in his youth, and his dad's real strict. And so Todd just manages to get into a lot of trouble just because, he's a troublemaker. Some people believe that he may have gotten into drugs around the age of 11. But yeah, I know. Because I think of that. I'm like, my middle guy's 1 year old.
I was just getting ready to say, that's our kids. Yikes.
Yeah. Could I imagine that? No, I can't. I can't imagine that. But I guess it happens.
The access, I think. I can't imagine that part. Where would an 11-year-old get access to?
So, okay. So first of all, let me just finish. Some say it's 11, some say 14. But anyway, either way, it's a range of young, that's a young age. But he's inhaling spray paint cans. So,
oh my goodness.
He has access because he has access. I think back then, I don't think they were as controlled, because I feel like now you have to be 18 to buy spray paint.
I had to show ID to buy some of that compressed air.
Oh, yeah.
I had to buy compressed air to clean the computer keyboard out with, and I had to show ID.
I think I haven't bought it in a long time, but I had to buy spray paint to paint a chair for my pool in Wake Forest, actually. And I'm pretty sure I had to show ID for that too. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit more regulated now, but spray paint cans was what Todd was into.
Yikes.
Several years later, he drops out of school in 10th grade. So he drops out of 10th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going down.
It's a pattern here.
A path here.
Yes, a path. There you go.
And he, things just start to go downhill. He starts to get into trouble with the law. And I'm going to now kind of just go through all of the things that happened over the next several years kind of pretty quickly. In April of 1986, he gets caught carrying a concealed weapon and gets arrested for public intoxication, which he gets 4 days in jail and fines. Then in May 1986, he's arrested for second-degree burglary. And also in the same month, he's arrested for supplying paint, spray paint cans, for sniffing to a 12-year-old. and he's ordered to pay restitution and gets 15 days in jail and 6 months probation. He then gets arrested for the same thing, supplying paint cans to minors, in November of 1986 and gets 60 days in jail. April of 1987.
The paint can dealer.
I know, right? I mean, the way they worded the arrest, I mean, it was very hard and confusing. So that's why I'm just saying he got arrested for supplying paint cans for.
Okay.
But that's not what it was labeled on the
so strange.
arrest report. I know. In April of 1987, he's arrested for grand larceny and gets 2 years probation and 60 days in jail. In November of 1988, he gets a DUI because he's high on those paint cans again, and gets 1 year probation and has to register in an inpatient rehab program. And in February of 1989, he's arrested for shoplifting and is sentenced to attend a boot camp at the Oklahoma State Prison. And I mentioned to you that I watched several documentary kind of pieces on this, and the judge that I think he came in front of most of the time was I tried to just slap him on the wrist a couple times, all right, dude, stop stealing bikes, stop whatever he's doing, stop sniffing paint cans
now.
Get yourself some help. And then at that point, I just had to be all right, now you've got to actually spend some real time somewhere because, it's not helping you. So, but she said, she was but he wasn't a bad kid. He wasn't killing people. He was doing stupid teenage stuff and just getting into trouble nonstop. So anyway, it's just very young and immature. So now we have a few timeline gaps that I can't fill them in. I don't know what happened, but I know that at some point he ends up in Corsicana, Texas, real quickly after this boot camp, because even some reports that I read actually overlapped, and I was well, I don't know how those could have happened at the same time. So I feel there was things that weren't reported exactly correctly, but I know that he did those, got arrested and got in trouble for those things, and then all of a sudden he ends up in Corsicana, Texas, which is about an hour south of Dallas. And like I said, I think it happened not long after that boot camp stint. And this is where he meets Stacey, I think you say this, Kai Kendall. She's yeah. And funny, Stacey. Stacey's the one who suggested this.
Not the same one, is it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think so. She's a senior in high school at the time and working at a Dairy Queen. She's probably about 17 and Todd is 19 going on 20. According to his stepmother in interviews, he's not just having a relationship with Stacey at this time, though. There's a neighbor that is an older woman who has children that's Todd's age, because she mentions how she was not supportive of that. She was against that completely.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he's not a one-woman man.
Okay.
He likes to play the field.
And a wide age range, too.
Yeah, exactly. I know. High school to somebody that's my mom's age. Also, at some point, Stacey and Todd move in together, which again, I don't know when, but I think it's pretty quickly, because on Todd's 20th birthday, Stacey reveals that she's pregnant with their first child. So within a year of them dating, she's pregnant. Now, when she tells Todd, he's less than thrilled about this. And according to Stacey, even says that he starts to become abusive towards her during this. Oh. And yeah, at one point, Stacey reports that Todd pushed her over a bathtub and exclaims that she exclaims that she could have had a miscarriage. And his answer to that was, well, that wouldn't have been a bad thing, because
oh, gross.
He doesn't really he's I don't want that life. I don't want young, kids at a young age. I didn't want to go down that path. But anyway, Stacey doesn't report any of this to the police, though. So there's no record of it, but this is what she's saying happens. Amber, their first daughter, and then that.
Okay, Long Island.
And it catches me off guard every time it happens.
Tell me about that daughter.
That daughter was born. And when she's 8 months old, Stacey finds out she's pregnant again. Oh. And she goes to her first ultrasound. And what do you think she finds out?
Oh my gosh, it's twins.
It's twins.
Oh.
So how do you think Todd reacted to that news?
Did he push her down 2 flights of stairs this time.
No, but maybe it's because they didn't have stairs. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what the kind of house they had, but he was definitely pissed off. And according to Stacey, he beat her. And when she tried to pick the phone up to call 911, he used the phone to beat her and broke the phone.
Oh my gosh. Okay. He's getting mad.
Yeah. Still, police are never called. She does kick him out, but 6 weeks later comes back and he's apologizing and she lets him back into the house. So Cameron and Carmen.
She's about to be, 20 years old with 3 kids or something like that? Yeah.
Exactly. And all 3 girls, by the way. So Amber, Cameron, and Carmen. Cameron and Carmen are born, and when the twins are about 2 months old, Stacey accuses Todd of having affairs because he was saying he's at work and she was finding out that he's actually not at work. I'm not even sure he was actually working at the time because I don't think that he held down a steady job for a while. And she's not wrong because according to the stepmom, he was, seeing this neighbor across the street. So, but he doesn't like being accused of it. So he beats her pretty badly this time. And she reports that she starts to hemorrhage because she's just had a baby. And she's like, she says something about, which I don't know anything about this, and maybe you can shed light, that after you've had a baby, you could actually hemorrhage and die,
Oh, yeah.
So badly that it could, I'm sure that can happen without, but because I guess you're kind of sensitive in that stomach area. I don't know.
I think that if that does happen, it happens immediately after you have the baby.
Okay, so
within minutes of after you have the baby, your bleeding is supposed to at some point stop.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't. And so women will, but I don't know about days or weeks or months.
I think she was
later.
thinking maybe because there's a chance that it wouldn't stop because she still wasn't fully healed from having the baby.
Right.
And so if she was in that area,
yes, possibly
that could happen.
Yeah.
So she says she spent the entire night in a bathtub full of water and actually slept because she was so concerned and anyway, she had just been bleeding all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
Yet she still doesn't call the police on Todd. So, we just have this tumultuous, is that the right word, relationship, and she's not putting an end to it. I did hear that her mom was killed by her dad when she was young, so she didn't start out life very good. So I don't know,
not an easy upbringing, I would imagine.
Yes, not an easy upbringing, and I don't know that she really knows what it's like to have a good life, and so maybe this is just normal. I don't know. I'm speculating here 100%. So
yeah, no, you're right. Statistically, sadly.
Yeah. So at this point, we know that Stacey is working at a bar at night to keep the family afloat, and Todd is the stay-at-home dad. The two pretty consistently have money problems, which is not a surprise. And despite all the abuse and money issues, Stacey and Todd get married. So after the kids and after all these beatings, in September of 1991. Also, at this point, I've heard that he ends the long-term affair with the older neighbor because he's choosing his family over that now. At this point.
Nice.
So now he's becoming a stand-up guy, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
He doesn't ever hurt the kids, does he? Is it just, we get, oh gosh, okay.
We're getting there. And I think you're going to remember it once I start talking about it.
Okay.
So just a few months later, on the morning of December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, 1991, Stacey gets up early and goes to a thrift store to buy some gifts for the children for Christmas because this is their financial state. She has to go to the thrift store. As she is in line to pay for her items, a police officer comes in to look for Stacey. And when she asked, what do you need me for? He's like, I don't really know. I was just told to bring you to the hospital. She's like, okay. So they bring her there. And not long after she walks in, she finds out that all 3 of her children have died in a fire at their home. All 3.
Oh my gosh. How old were they?
2 and 1 because they were twins. So
wow. Oh, they were
babies. According to reports, Todd was awakened by Amber, the oldest, the 2-year-old, calling Daddy. And when Todd woke up, he realized the house was full of smoke, and he tells Amber to go outside and goes to the twins' room and feels around for the girls and grabs what he thinks, because he can't see and whatever, so he's just feeling around on the floor. He grabs what he thinks is at least one of their legs and runs out the door. He comes out and realizes it's a stuffed animal.
No.
I think that you can feel the difference between that. Again, this is the reports. So, okay. Amber's not anywhere to be seen. So Amber's did not go out of the house when he says he told her to run out. A neighbor is alerted by her children that are playing outside that there's a fire next door. So she comes out and calls 911. And she notices Todd outside yelling that his babies are inside and burning up. An explosion happens and blows out the windows.
Oh my gosh.
And according to her, he runs to move his car away from the burning house.
Okay. Right, because, priorities.
Yeah. And according to another neighbor, he doesn't seem to be trying hard enough to save his girls. Although, granted, this guy is no saint, and he's clearly proven that he's, somewhat of a douche canoe. But to this point. But this is also one of those cases, like, how do you know how you're going to react when your house is burning up and exploding that you would just find it so, I know it's your kids and you love your kids, so easy to run into that burning building to, like, save them? I would like to think that, yes, it would be like, yep, no thought, I'm just going in, I don't care about my own safety. But really, like, do you know how you'd be?
Well, he cared about his own safety and his car.
Well, yes.
So I can pretty well say that I'm not going to give a crap about my car in the driveway if my kids are inside the house burning.
Well, yes.
And I'm not going to be like, hold on, girls. Hold on. I'll come get you in a minute. Let me go move my truck.
Fair assertion at this point. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about what may have happened in this situation. And I just may blow your mind, so you want to stick to the end.
Oh, Lord.
Hey guys, this is Christy and Beth from Crimes and Closets. We know there are a lot of platforms out there to choose from when recording and editing your podcast. We chose Anchor when we started, and we're still using it. If you're thinking of starting a podcast of your own, we highly recommend Anchor.
Anchor has all the tools you need to record and edit on both your phone or computer. Anchor distributes your content for you on all your favorite platforms and can even help you earn money with no minimum listenership requirements. And best of all, it's free. To get started, download the free Anchor app or visit anchor.fm. That's anchor.fm to get your podcast started today.
Okay, so they immediately start looking into Todd. Clearly, he's very suspicious. Firefighters investigate the scene and find patterns on the floor consistent with the use of accelerant. They also find suspicious burning by the front entrance on the aluminum, like, overhang, like the porch overhangs that are aluminum, made of aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that would burn unless it was really hot, and they feel like use of accelerant would have been the only thing that would have made it really hot at that point to burn that part of it. They also, and so they take evidence by the front door and find, like, charcoal lighter fluid when they test it. They also have, when windows have that, like, web, like, cracks, they're not, like, blown out, but they just have these, like, web-like cracks on them.
Like our phones do that. That's what our phones do when you drop your phone and the screen, like, gets the spider webs
You just
on
see
it.
it go,
Yep.
Well, they call those crazed windows. And they say this happens only when fires get so hot due to the use of accelerant. And so the windows are showing this crazed look. They also are suspicious of the fact that Todd didn't have many burns on his body, or that his feet were not burned when he was found at the scene barefoot. Like, if he's running through this burning hot house and there's, accelerant marks on the floor, then the floor is clearly very hot and burning, and he has bare feet and he doesn't even have anything on. So their thought is that he, like, started this at the front door when he was already out. That's the assumption. So, hold on. Sorry, my papers are sticking together. I gotta, sorry about that. So anyway, 2 weeks after the fire, Todd is arrested on capital murder charges of his 3 children. He goes to trial in August of 1992. He's offered a life-term sentence in exchange for him pleading guilty, but he refuses because he is insistent that he is innocent. And Stacey even testifies as this trial that he's innocent, like insisting he would not, like, yes, he has hurt me. And she admits that on the stand. He's beaten me. We've had a rough marriage, but he would never, never hurt these children. So,
And can I ask a question real quick? This fire happened during the day.
Yeah, it was
you said, right?
Like in early morning, because so there was also speculation that she worked overnight and stopped at the thrift store because she was working at a bar on the way home. But some say that she was home and woke up. She even says that in an interview, that she was home, woke up, and left. So it was between like 9 and like 10.
So why was he in bed?
I think he was just still sleeping, like at 9 in the morning, I think. Okay. Or maybe he went back to bed after, I don't know. I mean, clearly he's not the dad of the year, and he's probably not up making sure the kids are okay.
Okay, gotcha.
So based on all the previously mentioned fire evidence, testimony at the trial, that was testified at the trial, all that fire evidence that I mentioned earlier, and all the abuse that was in the relationship, testimony from Todd's roommate while in jail, because he says that Todd admitted to him that he did it.
There's always a jailhouse snitch.
There is a jailhouse snitch. But again, we'll see. And testimony from a psychiatrist stating that he was a sociopath and that he would be a future danger to society. He is convicted of the murder of his 3 children, and he was sentenced to death.
Oh, gosh, in Texas.
Yes. In Texas, they do not offer, I mean, I don't know if they do now, but at this time for sure, they do not offer life without the possibility of parole. It's either life with the possibility of parole, or you get convicted and sentenced to death. Those are the options. And when you have this horrific of a crime, they're not going to offer you parole. So it's got to be death. They need to get the death penalty. So Todd sat on death row for 12 years. Not long after he was convicted, Stacey filed for divorce and doesn't visit Todd in jail at all, pretty much. But she also doesn't waver on his innocence.
I was just going to say, does she still believe that he is innocent?
She just is kind of like, I need to end this part of my life. It's over. I need to just move on. So she cuts ties with him, but still is telling people that he's innocent. So as you can imagine, all of those years were full of appeals, and every time they were denied. 2 weeks before his execution date, he asked Stacey to come see him, and he requests that she not come to the execution and asks if he could be buried next to the girls, which she refuses because at that point, she's pretty much like, well, I can't because everybody thinks you're guilty. And if I let you, that would really look weird for me to let you be buried next to the girls at this point. So his lawyers are feverishly trying to get a stay of execution as they were getting new evidence and had a new report from a fire forensic scientist.
Yes, I am dying to know who they think killed these girls if it was not the dad.
Okay, well I don't know if I'll answer all of your questions, but I'm going to answer some. All of these stays of execution were denied, and they didn't accept any new, they would get the report, but they're saying they didn't even read it because they were like, everybody's convinced this guy is it. And Texas isn't in the habit of reversing death penalties. The governor was given a report right before, but he was also up for re-election, and he probably was thinking, I'm not going to get re-elected in Texas if I do a stay of execution right before.
Especially of 3 young children.
Yes. Yeah. So everything was just against him in this case, in those terms. So like I said, Stacey had maintained for years that she was innocent, but right before the execution date, an affidavit comes in stating that she's now changed her mind after reading all of the court transcripts of the hearings. She believes that he killed the kids and that he admitted it to her on that last visit that she had with him. So, which he denies, by the way. He denies admitting it. On February 17th, 2004, Todd was executed by lethal injection. And his final words before execution were, "The only statement I want to make is that I am an innocent man convicted of a crime I did not commit. I have been persecuted for 12 years for something I did not do. From God's dust I came, and to dust I will return, so earth shall become my throne. I gotta go, road dog. I don't really know if that was true, but it was in a quote. So
Okay.
I gotta go, road dog.
Who's road dog? Who's
I
he
don't
talking
know.
to? His homie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows? And then he addresses Stacey, who's watching about 8 feet away through a window, and says, I hope you rotten hell bitch.
Whoa.
And then he attempts to maneuver his hand that's strapped down to like give her the finger, essentially. So.
Well, see, now that makes me think he did it.
Okay. I was just going to ask. I mean,
That's
it
nasty.
definitely sounds like a piece of you know what.
Yes.
But, okay. All right. Well, here we go. Here's where I'm going to start to blow your mind. My mind was blown, at least. So the defense team was trying to get the judges in the courts to grant these stays of execution. So here's the stuff that they got that was pushing them in that direction. After about 2 months after the fire, the National Fire Protection Association published a new report called the Nfpa 921. In this report, they were saying that there was new science behind fire investigations. And actually, up until this point, there wasn't any, from what I can tell, science behind it. It was just years and years of firefighters fighting fires and seeing patterns and just like starting to say, okay, this was arson. This is how I know this, blah, 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 blah. So there really wasn't any science behind it until this point. So now this new report that was published 2 months after it is saying, there's now science behind it. We've got firefighters that are actually setting fires and watching them and figuring it out. So here's a couple things they found. The crazed glass I mentioned earlier that they once thought only happened when accelerant was used is now found that that occurs when water is sprayed on a window.
Oh, okay.
During it being put out.
Okay.
So it cracks when the fire is sprayed on it. So did it happen because there was accelerant? We don't know. The floor burn patterns that was said to have been caused by the accelerant, which I didn't mention this earlier and I didn't even put it in my notes, but they said in the trial that it was like in a pentagram, I don't know, some sort of satanic symbol, that's what was like. And they were saying that he was like a Satan worshiper because he had these like posters of in his room. Well, later on, these posters are found out to be like, I don't know what heavy metal band, but basically posters
bands or something.
Yeah, of that. And so like, that's all it was. It wasn't satanic. But anyway, they had said these burn patterns, like he had made this pentagram on the floor and that's what the pattern was with the accelerant. But anyways, so the guru behind all this new forensic science stated that when fires excel quickly because they burn a lot of combustible material quickly, so everything basically just goes up all at once quickly in the fire. And they had a Christmas tree there and a whole bunch, they have a smaller house and they have a whole bunch of kids stuff in there. So that everything just can go up. This gas builds up and causes an explosion and it's called a flashover. So everything,
which is what happened. You said they saw that happened.
Right. There was an explosion that blew out the windows, some of the windows. And so it goes up across the ceiling first and then comes down to the floor, essentially. So it wouldn't have been the accelerant on the floor. Anyway, so those kind of flashovers, according to this guy, makes it impossible to visually identify accelerant patterns because of the way this fire burns. And when you look at the patterns in this particular fire, they're consistent with going in the directions of the windows in the house. And that's what's called ventilation patterns. So it wasn't he saying that he poured stuff on it. It went in those patterns because they were going towards the windows, the flames. Okay. Am I blowing your mind yet?
A little bit.
As for the aluminum burning on the porch and them not believing that it could get that hot without the use of accelerant, this has not been proven false. No, sorry, just kidding. They have proven it false. It can get hot enough without the use of accelerant. It's kind of rare, but it can get hot enough. And if you're saying, well, okay, they took a sample though, and they found lighter fluid, right, in that area. Well, let's just say there's a barbecue with bottles of lighter fluid on their front porch. So when the fire comes out, it's clearly going to light that up. And that lighter fluid is going, like when it blows up, is going to be splattered around the front. So there's the reason for that.
And they did have it, they're saying, on their front porch.
Yes, there was a barbecue with bottles of lighter fluid on the front porch.
Okay.
Which wasn't kind of mentioned. They just kind of left that information out. So this forensic scientist concluded that there was not one iota of evidence that accelerant had been used and that it was arson, and it was actually an accidental fire. He's saying that they were so convinced that accelerant was used that they never really looked at wiring in the house, the space heater that was
any
there.
other options, essentially.
Yes, and they were just dead set on Todd did this because everybody knew he was crummy, essentially. So this was what was in the report that was given to the court days before the execution, but they didn't even look at it. They were like, there's no new evidence. The evidence showed that he did it. There's nothing that you could say. So they're saying that there's no way they even read it, because if they had read it, somebody would have acted on it. But I don't know. Like I said, it's Texas. Maybe they wouldn't have. So also, since then, the psychiatrist that testified Todd was a sociopath and would be a danger in the future has been expelled from the American Psychiatric Association due to his misconduct in his practices. He would often testify and write reports without even talking to the defendants, which was the case in Todd's case. He never even talked to Todd. And he's also been dubbed Dr. Death because out of the 167 cases that he testifies in, 100 of those, he said that the person would be a danger to society in the future. And this testimony saying that they're a danger to society is mandatory in a trial in order to get the death penalty. So it's like they always ask this guy to come in.
He's a prosecution witness is what he is. He's on their long payroll list or whatever.
And he's no longer able to practice because he was found to be sleazy.
Not an unbiased witness.
It is said, so the derogatory comments made towards Stacey right before he dies, basically they're saying he was pissed because she lied that he admitted 2 weeks.
Right.
And she essentially, put the nail in the coffin for him, so to speak, because maybe they would have looked into it if she hadn't then come out with this affidavit that he admitted it to me days before.
But why would she do that though?
I don't know. I watched several things on it. There's an ID Discovery show on it, and then there's also a documentary on the other side of this where I got the information from the forensic scientist, and he's a very interesting dude. He's cool. But she says, she's like, yeah, I lied on the stand, but I'm not lying now. And I don't know. I don't want to say that she's lying. But I don't know. I'm not convinced I'm also not convinced she's telling the truth, honestly.
Yeah.
With all of this actual physical evidence, and he saying for so long he didn't do it. Why would he all of a sudden? Oh, also the guy, that, in the jail that he says admitted, he comes back and recants his testimony and basically says that the prosecution
paid him to say it.
Yeah, said I would get a lesser sentence, and they told me what to say, blah, blah, blah. But clearly, now everybody's like, well, do we believe that guy because he's really an ex-con? When did you lie? Did you lie on the stand or are you lying now? We don't know. But he's he's turned his life around, that guy. And I watched him and I kind of believe him now, based on how he's doing now.
Also, it is my policy to always believe liars when they said they lied. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
If they're liars and you're like, well, you can't believe them because there's a liar, they're probably not going to lie about that they lied.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. No,
because everybody thinks I'm a liar. They know I lied. Yeah, I lied.
Right.
You should probably believe them that they lied.
Yeah. Fair. That's a fair statement, actually. The prosecutor, I will say, actually got brought up on, I don't know if it was charges or whatever, but they investigated him, and the Supreme Court ruled that he didn't do anything wrong in this trial. And it's being fought. It's literally being fought nonstop. The Innocence Project isn't on this.
I was just going to ask who is fighting this, because he's been executed. Like, he doesn't have a voice anymore.
Right.
Unless somebody
So the Innocence
has one for him.
Yeah, the Innocence Project got involved in it. Initially, there was this lady, Elizabeth Gilbert. She started writing him in prison because she was got into this program of people who I didn't even know there was an actual program. I just thought people just started writing people because they have this weird fetish to talk to them. But I guess there is an actual program for people to sign up for to write to convicts in prison. And she got signed up for this and got to know Todd and actually started visiting him and really started to believe him. And so she kind of spearheaded the initial while he was still alive. But she gets into a car accident and is paralyzed and ends up not being able to continue visiting him and helping him in the end. But she still believes that he's innocent and whatnot. But anyway, I don't know what you think. Clearly he's not a saint and he was abusive. But did that mean that he killed his kids? And, I don't know. I'm going to say I'm at a crossroads. I think, yes, he could have done it.
Yes.
He's a jerk. But now I'm with the evidence would not have convicted him.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say. I completely agree that he was capable probably of doing it. But I don't know that we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did.
Right.
That's what I think. So, and if we have belief in the justice system, then we can't prove that he did it, I think, based on the new evidence that has come out. I do think it is weird, though, that he didn't get his kids. I just think that's strange. I understand not going back in the house, but if he thought the 1-year-old had run outside, where did she actually run? Why would he not have run with her? I don't know. Well, you see what I'm saying? If she came into his room.
Right. So he was like go get out, because he was going to go to the twins' room because the twins had like a baby gate in front of them.
Right.
So they wouldn't have been able to. And I will say.
And I also wouldn't just grab one and run out, because he said he grabbed one thing, one stuffed animal that he thought was a kid, and then was like, all right, sorry for whoever I just left. Right.
Yeah. And there was.
But let me go move my car real quick.
Okay. So, yeah. So there has been lots of, I don't know, that stories have changed. Like police reports initially were saying he actually got a tire iron out of his car. That's what he was doing. And he hit the window and to break it and whatever to go back in. And then that explosion happened. And then he was like, I can't go back in.
Well, that's dramatically different. That makes me feel a whole different way.
I know. But the thing is, it's their stories changed, because then that same neighbor testified a completely different way, that he wasn't going in, blah, 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 he wasn't doing anything. So it was stories changed over the years. And when it came to the trial, they were just out to get him. I think I actually think that it was an accident, and that, and then he just was kind of a coward and couldn't go back in. He just wasn't strong enough to do it.
I mean,
yeah, right.
I don't know that any of us would.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know either. I think I would lean more towards he did not do it.
I know. I want
Which
to be
I did not
you're
think I was
such a jerk.
But if there really are reports that he was trying to get back in, that's a whole different ballgame, because my big hang up was his behavior while the fire was happening, grabbing the stuffed animal and moving your car. That was telling to me. So if that's not even true, I don't even know.
I know. But it's I don't know if we're ever going to know, because it's these he said, she said. Oh, when were you telling the truth?
And this poor Stacey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I can't imagine going and buying Christmas presents for my kids, and during the process of buying them presents, finding out they're all dead.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. That is really going to ruin Christmas for somebody forever. I mean, she has been through a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And is still apparently going through it. And I'm sure she can't be at peace whenever it's all still. I'm not saying they should not fight it because of that, but I'm just saying, like, it's not going away for her. Like, this is her life.
Yeah.
Her whole life now has become this case and this loss. Oh my gosh.
And for some people, she's the enemy now, you know, because they're saying like, well, you lied on the stand and now you're lying now and blah, blah, blah. Like, so yeah, I mean, I feel for her. Yeah. But I'm still at a crossroads. So.
Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. This was a different kind of case.
It was. Because we're not like totally like killing that guy. Like, hey, I mean, it was
good, like justice was served. Woohoo!
Right. Exactly.
I know. That's strange. That's really tragic. Honestly, if someone was convicted, it worries me about this country. Some things like that. When I hear about stuff like that, I'm always like, man, we're never going to get it right. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say I highly recommend watching the Investigation Discovery Evil Lives Here season 9 episode 1 is basically Stacey telling the whole thing. It's her side. And then Death by Fire is the documentary where they talk with the forensic scientist guy. There's another one, Incendiary. I don't know how to say that. That I want to watch that I just looked up, but I have to rent that one. And then there's a movie.
Oh, good Lord.
Trial by Fire. That was fantastic. It was a good movie. Like, and it had legitimate actors in it. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I should start with that one.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's definitely like, there's definitely lots of truth to it. Clearly they're going to dramatize it and they're going to like add little things in. And according to the actors, I read an article about it. The one who played Stacey, like she just kind of had to go by what she read in reports because Stacey wanted nothing to do with it. So she couldn't really, you know. Yeah. She's like, so however I acted could be how she acted, but I don't really know.
Wow. You put some time in.
Yeah. It was interesting. I was like, I really want to know. I want to see and hear everything I can.
Love whenever people send in suggestions. Like it's all of our suggestions, especially, you know, because sometimes we get cases and they're new or there's not enough information and we can't put together an entire episode right now with them. So we just kind of hang on to them. But some of these cases, it's like we've never heard of these cases before and probably wouldn't have covered them otherwise. And you guys are really like, because they're outside of our box, right? We are comfortable in what we're comfortable in, and we cover the cases that we know how to research well and how to put together well and make a nice story. And I really like, you guys are shaking it up.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. When I first wrote this one down and like quickly did a Google search, I was like, oh, great. Like guy killed his kids. This isn't going to be that great. You know, I had no idea I was going to go into this like rabbit hole of holy crap, maybe he didn't do it. So,
yeah, interesting. Okay. That was a great case. Thank you so much for telling it. Thank you, Stacey, for suggesting it. Let us know if you're the same Stacey.
Could you imagine? It's not. No, the last name is different. So,
oh, okay. You're safe then. Good. Yeah. But yeah, that was a great story. We really appreciate that. So keep the suggestions coming. Come find us on social media. Send us a message. Reach out. Post pics of you listening. We will repost and write you back. It's the funnest part of our day. So please do that. And we hope you come back. If you're new or just starting us, we hope you come back and listen. Join us every Monday on all the platforms. We haven't said that in a while.
I know, right?
And we love you guys and hope you're having a great summer. And always remember, the world is scary. People suck. Hide in your closet.